All right, welcome everybody to today's My Travel Ventures special training with our special guest, Mr. Ray Higdon. As you all know, we have the privilege of having a monthly training with Ray. He is from the Higdon Group, and I've known Ray, not personally, but I've known of Ray for 10 plus years now. I've followed his trainings. I've learned so much from him, and Ray, we appreciate you being on here tonight. So what we're going to do tonight is just kind of open it up to all of us here. Anyone that has a question about marketing, about prospecting, about anything that you might think you could need some help with, Ray is here. He's open ears. He's got a ton of information you can share with us. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll just go one by one and see who has a question for Ray, and we'll talk about it. So anybody at all, go ahead and raise your hand. Think about what you might want to learn tonight, and let's go from there.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
David. All right. I don't know how to virtually raise my hand, but Ray, I would love to hear your take on the mindset that each one of us needs to have going into this thing, where it's brand new for the most part. We have the world ahead of us, but I'd love to hear your take on where you think the company's going, number one, and then number two, the mindset that each one of us should have when talking and approaching people.
Yeah. So, fortunately, I know exactly, where you are because, I became the number one income earner of a company I joined in pre-launch. And it just so happens that Jake was one of the founders. And so it's actually a very similar situation. And we also in like a 4-year period, I want to say, or maybe, right around 4-year period, I think we did 13 vacation incentives. So our product actually wasn't travel, but our product was something that was not a very emotionally based product, is more logical. And so to get people fired up, we would take them on trips. And so they could earn, incentive trips. And so I actually know very well, what it's like to be in your shoes. And so I'll tell you what I've noticed is, just from coaching a lot of people, today I was one-on-one coaching a guy that, he makes $180,000 a month. He's in a company that's been around for 49 years. And he hasn't been in the company for 49 years. I think he's been in the company for 8 years or something like that. And here's what I've noticed is everyone wants to be in early until they're in early. And so there are some things that come along when you're in with a company that's early, right? You have to have vision. And what's interesting is when people come into an older company, what do they wish for? Man, I wish I came into this earlier. But what they don't understand is every company in the early stages goes through some different things. You're going to have software problems. You're going to have inventory problems. It's just a fact. It's just, there's no getting around that. No matter how much you plan, no matter how structured everything is, you're going to have, some things. You're going to have some things happen. And so you have to really, take that mindset of I'm going to make this happen, not I'm waiting for the company to make it happen. And so, I, in that company, when I started, I wasn't the master distributor. I actually joined under a very influential leader, not directly, but he was above me, and he's like, man, it was a binary, and I'm going to blow up your leg, bro, which he never did. He never placed anyone underneath me, not one person. And so, here I am at the very bottom, and there was already a top income earner who was on a totally different leg, who was, crushing it. And I just built left, right, left, right, left, right, right. I just built to surpass him and became, I think I was like 80, and, Jake could probably tell you better, but I think I was like 80% of the company. But I didn't start that way. So I wasn't waiting for the company to do something miraculous. I was going to do the miraculous. And so the way that you do the miraculous is you become more addicted to your activity than the response of the market. You become more addicted to your activity than whatever the company is doing. And I think a lot of people, they get into analysis mode of, I sure wish the company had trips to Turks and Caicos or whatever, right? I sure wish the software had a better login. And I just, like, our software sucked. They didn't have any marketing. Our videos sucked. I mean, they were terrible. I had to make my own videos because they just sucked. And, so like, I didn't wait for the company to do a damn thing. I was going to make this thing happen, period. Because, and at the time I was in a very tough spot. I had lost everything in real estate. I'd been through a divorce. I was $1 million in debt because I'd over leveraged my house and over leveraged some different properties. And so I was just in a really not great place. And I was just hungry to get the heck out of it. And so you have to have that mindset of, I'm going to make this thing happen, and I'm going to drag the company with me. And that's really what I feel I did. Maybe they feel differently. I'll have to ask Jake about that, but maybe they feel differently, but that's how I felt. I felt like, I was going to make this thing happen. And so what that looks like because, mindset isn't a way of thinking, it's a way of being. And so, you'll hear people say, oh, my mindset's good. Well, your results show otherwise, right? Your actions show otherwise. Your results and your discipline and your consistencies show otherwise. So maybe you need some help in your mindset. And so, mindset is a way of being. Good mindset shows up. And so how I showed up was, I had read a book called Go for No, and which I highly recommend. And now I don't know where it is because we're actually moving here soon. But I read the original book, Go for No. And since, a few years later, I actually co-wrote a book with them called Go for No for Network Marketing. But the concept of Go for No was to just reduce your resistance to rejection and your reaction to rejection. And so instead of, oh, they said no, let me go eat ice cream, or, oh my goodness, what if they say no? You just go get the no, and it's not a big deal. And so I was, my goal, which I hit every single day for at least 6 months, was 20 no's a day. So before my head hit the pillow, I had to have 20 humans tell me no. And that's not a non-response. That's not a maybe. And that's not I'll take a look at it. It's an actual no. And that takes, some effort. That takes some pretty serious effort. You can accomplish that somewhere between 1 to 2 hours a day, usually. But most people don't spend 1 to 2 hours a day on their business. Most people don't spend 1 to 2 hours a day prospecting, for sure. They may spend 1 to 2 hours a day studying or watching, TikToks or something, but they very, very rare will you find someone that actually spends an hour a day prospecting. That's a very rare person. And so, I was getting 20 no's a day. I also just believed in the day that, man, if I did enough videos, eventually someone's going to start reaching out to me and someone's going to see these darn things. And so I started doing a video a day. In the beginning, that wasn't yielding me anything. Now, back then, we didn't have live video. We didn't have TikToks or Instagram Reels. So it's definitely a much easier game now than it was, back then. Back then, you would just, record a video, upload it, hope for the best. But the algorithms were against you, so, most of my, the first probably 4 months of videos, most of my videos had less than 20 views, maybe 30. And so it just wasn't going very quickly, but I just kept doing them because I believed that at some point, the lever was going to turn, the tide was going to turn, and it did. I didn't have a big breakthrough until toward the end of my 4th month, where I had a guy that happened to see one of my videos, and he called me because I put my phone number in every video I had. And he called me and decided to join. He went on to become my #1 leader, and just, rocked it out. And so until then, I really didn't have anyone running, those first, 4 months. And so it's just, looking at what activity, if done, would make success inevitable. And you can ask that of anything, right? if you consume, I mean, depending on how much you weigh, but if you consume, 1,400 calories a day and you do, 500 sit-ups a day, you're going to get chiseled. You're going to get jacked. You're going to get diesel, right? That would make success inevitable. No question. And so what in the business world, what would make success inevitable? If you go for 20 no's a day, you do, like nowadays, I wouldn't do like one long video like I did. I would do 3 short reels a day. You went for, even 5 no's a day, 10 no's a day, and you did 3 reels a day. You did that every day. You may not crush it your first month. Month 3, you're going to start seeing some pretty serious things happen. Month 4 through 6, you're going to have doubled your income minimum at least, and then it's just gravy from there. If you keep that up. Does that help?
Awesome. Oh, love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Thanks, David, for asking that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pleasure.
Anybody else have a question along the same lines or another topic? We're an open mic tonight. Whatever you guys want to talk about. Anybody else? If
So
not,
Ray, if nobody else is going to ask a question, I'll go ahead and keep asking questions.
I have a question.
So if you got somebody brand new, is just that this would be the exact same process? You would just walk them through this step by step, or how would you handle that brand new?
So first, you need to know their level of desire, and so this is just very, very important. I would say probably the biggest mistake that leaders make is they try to strangle the people that join their team with their goals. And so, most people that would take the time out of a Thursday night to even get on here have bigger goals than the people that aren't on here, right? And a lot of times the leaders thinks that, man, I got to get my people pumped up and fired up. And it's just, we're an interesting profession. Like when I was in the corporate world, I mean, I was always climbing the ladder. I'm like, hey, what's the next move, man? Like, I want to make more money. I want to get to the top of this ladder. And, but there were people all along the way that had been in their position for decades, like literally decades. Like I remember, one lady, she was, super nice, but she had been in her, not very high position for 24 years and no one bugged her. No one said, come on, Judy, you could do it, right? Let's go for management. Like no one, there was just like, she saw openings. If she wanted the opening, she could have gone for it. But in network marketing, people, try to choke everyone out with their goals. And so what happens with that is when we try to choke everyone with our crazy goals, and they don't have that level of desire, then they instantly fall into that pattern of when they disappointed their parents. And nobody on the planet will pay for a membership where they feel like a disappointment. Nobody, right? Network marketing is the easiest relationship to leave. So easy, right? Now, tougher to leave your parents, tougher to fire your kids, and tougher to leave a job. Really easy. I mean, someone that can't even operate a microwave will figure out how to get off auto ship. And so if we have, so culture, which I talk about, I don't know where any of my stuff is here, but when I in my leadership book, I talk about culture, and culture is allowing people to feel good regardless of their level of desire or level of result. And so I'm gonna ask this new person and say, hey, what are you hoping to do? Are you hoping to go on some trips? Are you hoping to build a business? What is it that you're looking to do? I'm here to support you at whatever level. And if they say, I want to go to the tippy top, I want to make it rain, then I'm going to say, okay, go do this, report back in. So step 1 would probably be go watch the fast start training, come back to me with any questions. And after they go through that, I'm kind of going to get their intellectual prowess here of, if they watch it, what kind of questions do they come back with? And then step 2, if they were able to consume it, is probably going to have them go prospect 5 people, come back, to me. And I'm going to meet them where they are. So some people are absolutely, they'll throw, holy water at their warm market before they prospect them, right? So they won't, they just don't want to do that because maybe they've rejected them in the past, or they just don't have confidence or whatever. So I'm like, okay, fine. Here's how you prospect, people you don't know. And I'm just going to keep saying, go do this, report back in, go do this, report back in, and I'm going to meet them where they're at. Now, if they say, you know what, right now I'm pretty busy in life. I got my kid getting, graduating, we're moving, we got this going on. You know what, for right now, I think I'm just going to sit back, kind of hang in the group. Totally cool. No problem. Welcome. We really appreciate you being a part of this. And so I'm going to love on them. And I believe it's much more longevity than intensity. And so if I'm intense on them, regardless of their desire, then I'm going to much more likely chase them away than I am going to get them fired up. And so I believe that the longer you keep them around the campfire, the more likely they may catch a spark. And so my goal is to keep them excited, fired up, and wanting to be around the community, regardless of how much money they want to make or where their willpower is or anything like that. Does that help? And then I think Charisse had a question.
Yeah, Charisse, why don't you go ahead and ask your question?
Hi, thank you so much. So I've been away. Hi, Ray. Thank you.
Hey.
How's Sabrina?
Hey.
She's such a doll. I've been away for 5 months, almost 6, and I just really haven't had any access to being online or being with my business. And I've come back like 2 weeks ago, and I'm trying to get back in, but I feel so like out of place. My algorithm is just nothing. Like my Facebook, everything is just like flat. It's just like a couple of friends, family, just the same 5 people that say hi or like, or but I feel like, how do I jump back in? Like, how do I get back into that momentum? Because like once you stop, it's like, so what's your suggestion as far as like getting back into it?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, the number one thing is don't overthink it. So first of all, and I know this may sound harsh, but nobody noticed, right? Like we think when we take time off, man, people must be really wondering. No. They got their own crap going on. They're chasing kids, doing laundry. They got their own thing going on. They're watching, Yellowstone or whatever they're doing, right? So they got their own stuff going on. They didn't notice that Charisse wasn't working her business. And so just know we don't have to do some big explanation. Hey guys, here's where I've been. No one noticed. So we just step back into it. And if, which I doubt this will happen, if someone asks, hey, where you been? Just say, you know what, I took an amazing, kind of to some time away from social media. And I just, oh man, just found myself and I'm fired up now, right? Whatever, right? But most people didn't notice. Most people are just too consumed with their own life. And so don't overthink it. And, the best thing that you can do is just get started and just get consistent. And so, know that, yeah, if you haven't posted for months on social media, you're going to have a hit, right? And you either say, oh, this sucks. I sure wish it was the way it was, which it's not. Or you just say, you know what? It's going to get better and better and better, which it will. And so, posting, consistently, commenting on other people's stuff, and, making sure one of the, just absolute rules is, people wish for more engagement, but they don't even engage with the people that comment on their stuff, right? And so I'm not saying you don't, because I don't know, but, make sure that if those that are commenting, you're engaging with them, you're answering their questions or you're commenting on their stuff. And so, you just start, where you are. You got to play the hand that, that's in front of you, not wish for a different hand. Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Dawn, yay.
So Dawn, did you have a question?
Actually, I wanted you to, I was on a training with you earlier, trainings with you earlier today. And one of the things that you taught really caught my attention, something I had never heard before. And it was really about friends, like sending out friend requests on Facebook, and how you can also like bring a post that was successful back to life. And just some of the things that can hinder our algorithm or add to it. And so I was working at the time, so I was writing notes, but not as feverishly as I wanted to. So if you could go over that, I think it would be beneficial to everyone else, and it would be great for me to hear it again.
Sure. So, so first, kind of know one of the big factors, if you're talking Facebook, at least, one of the big factors of Facebook, very simple, is they take your number of Facebook friends, they add however many friend requests you've sent out that hasn't been accepted yet, and they divide that by how many people are engaging with your posts, and that's kind of your score. And so everyone, and the higher your score, the more they'll show it to the people you're friends with, right? And so everyone wants that higher score. Everyone wants more engagement. And so you either have to get really good at content, or a much simpler route is to reduce your friends, is to reduce that number, because if you reduce that number with the same engagement, you have a higher score. Does that make sense, what I'm saying here? And so it doesn't matter people that have sent you requests that you haven't accepted, but there's a way, and you may have to Google it because I don't remember exactly how to do it, but if you Google how to find friend requests that I've sent out, I would go and take a look, because if you've been on Facebook for many years, like I have, unless you've checked this, you probably have hundreds, maybe even 1,000 of requests that you've sent that were never accepted. That actually harms you. And because that adds to the bottom line of how many friends you have. Now, all these, in the beginning of Facebook, I very vividly remember it was like, okay, you got 5,000 friends, go get them, Tiger. And it was like, go as quickly as possible, get 5,000 friends. That actually was the worst advice, because if you get this humongous base of people, but your engagement isn't that great, it actually continuously harms you. So if you reduce your friends by, 20%, you would see a pretty massive uptick, and all of a sudden your stuff will be shown to more people, because according to their algorithm, you have a higher score now. You have a higher percentage of people you're connected to actually engaging. And so, so a very simple one is, just taking a look, and this, this can take time. And there's softwares out there that, quite frankly, I don't trust, because Facebook is very finicky. If you start doing some automated kind of stuff on your Facebook, like, pretty good chance you'll get your profile, shut down. And I actually had the ultimate hookup. I had an amazing dude on the inside of Facebook, and he helped me with a lot of stuff, and he just got let go. I'm like, oh man. So like anytime I had fake profiles, anytime that, like, I had a group of people that were just anti-MLM people, and they were flagging all my videos as nudity, right? And so like I actually got him involved, and he actually got, they got penalized, which is awesome, which is great. And but now he's gone, so a sad face. And so reducing, going through your profile and looking at, who doesn't have a profile picture. You shouldn't be friends with them. They're not doing anything. Who hasn't posted in a year? Get rid of them, right? And so, reducing that number is literally the fastest way for you to improve your algorithm, improve your engagement and reach. And then from there, there are some, simple things that you can do. Like one thing I do is, some days I forget this, but I try to look at my memories every day. And what's cool is I'll look at my memories, and if there's any posts in my memories that did well or generated leads or money or anything like that, I'll make sure to comment on them, and it always floats it back up and people see it. So it'll be very rare, unless you have a very, very small engagement, it'll be very rare for you to comment on a popular memory and not get more comments that same day on that memory. And so that's a pretty cool way to keep things, you know, kind of recycling and keep people paying attention and you getting attention from people.
Cool.
Was there
I
anything?
have a quick question on that. As far as engagement goes,
Yeah.
so do you think so just clicking like or heart or whatever, is that have like a lesser score of engagement than actually commenting, or is it not even count at all? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, like is the lowest, right?
Okay.
So love is a little bit better. Comment is the best. And also like one kind of way to think is don't ever post when you're like going into the movie theater, right? And you're about to turn your phone off, or don't ever post when you're about to go to bed, right? You always want to post when you have at least 15 minutes to engage with anyone that engages, because Facebook looks at that and they're like, and if you post something and someone comments and you engage with them right away, it's like, oh, okay, they're playing the game. Got it. Let's show it to more people. But if you have several people comment and you're not even around, you are going to throttle your post is going to get throttled. You're not going to typically have it seen by nearly as many people as it could have. And so now on the flip side, it's smart for you to, you know, if you're going into a movie theater or you're going to bed or, you know, jumping on a plane or whatever, it's smart for you to comment on stuff or, you know, engage with something. It's just not smart for you to post something new when you're about to go into, you know, a period of time where you won't have access to Facebook.
Cool. Good advice. All right. Francois, did you have a question?
Please. Okay, Ray, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
My question to you is, when you say people haven't done anything on Facebook for a year or something, so then you just get rid of them? Do you tell them that you're going to get rid of them, or do you just get rid of them?
They won't notice. If they're not posting anything, if they haven't posted anything in a year and you haven't noticed them comment on any of your stuff, they're probably not even logging in. And so they're not going to notice. And you know, I mean, you can always, if they say, hey, what the heck, man, you know, if somehow they're just spectating on Facebook, you can say, oh my goodness, that must have been a mistake. I'm so sorry. Here, let me re-add you. So, you know, I'm never gonna, you know, make it crappy where they feel bad. I will tell you something funny though. And yes, you can cancel your sent out friend requests. In fact, it's one of the best ways for you to improve your engagement, like right away, is, you know, and I don't remember how to do it, but just Google, you know, how to find your Facebook requests or friend requests that you sent out, and you'll find a list of them, and you can just cancel them all. And that will immediately improve your score and immediately, you know, get you more people. But I will tell you one funny thing. So way back in it's probably 2009, I had an assistant, or I was trying to use an assistant to help me with some of the messages that I was getting. And she was a little overzealous in sending messages, and she got my account shut down. So that's why like my Facebook profile is like ray.higdon1, because my original Facebook got shut down. And what was funny about that is, like, you know, I would go to parties and people would see me like, hey man, what's up? I'm like, you know, nothing, what's going on? And all these people were mad at me because they thought I blocked them. And, you know, like I lost my profile. So like I didn't do anything to them, but they were mad because they thought I like blocked them because they couldn't find me anymore. And so, you know, you don't want to get your profile shut down because it is a pain in the butt. It really is. And so, you know, just, you know, be careful with it. So Dawn, if someone does comment on your stuff, you absolutely don't unfriend them. Okay. So like, you know, that's the creme de la creme. That's who you.
I do have somebody that doesn't have a picture on their account, and they like
if they comment on your stuff,
everything I ever do.
Yeah. If they comment on your stuff, they're welcome. The gates are open.
One other thing is, you know how there's the scripted comments, like that they give you the option of
Mhm.
for commenting on somebody's stuff.
Okay.
You know, is that like worse than just typing out the response? Does it matter?
No, it's fine. I don't
I
think.
mean, I've heard people say you have to type 7 to 10 words to make it like really look like you're doing anything.
I haven't heard that. I haven't
Okay.
noticed any difference there.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, you could, you know, strategically, right? If you're dropping a more meaningful comment or something that is a little beefy, right? Then, you know, that will typically get you more attention. And so if you have something to say to the post that would add to the post or give a opinion or whatever, then sure, that's going to be more powerful than just saying, you know, congrats or thank you or whatever, because it'll get the attention of some of the people commenting. So, you know, that's a great strategy. But if you're, you know, kind of in a hurry, which, you know, a lot of times we are, and you're just trying to, you know, comment on a few people's things and, you know, go for it, that's better than not.
And what about, you know, I have several people that I follow, like this guy named Ray Higdon. I follow all of his stuff all day. Not all day, but when I'm on social media. But so I do comment because I have it moves me to comment, right? But should we be actively looking for people that we don't always engage with, or be looking at our stories on who likes them and looking at their, you know, posts? Like, is there anything that can help us get a broader audience or a reach besides reels? And maybe you should talk about that too.
Yeah. So you can have, you know, strategy with your comments. You know, I don't know that my team does this anymore. But I used to have a list of high engagement leaders that I would make sure we commented on frequently. Right. And so, you know, it was, you know, and I just, you know, had a list, you know, Eric and I don't remember, you know, Jesse Lee, you know, like some, you know, just some different leaders that my team, I would make sure that they comment something, you know, meaningful in their posts, just to be in front of all of those different, you know, people. Right. You know, it'd probably be better. At one point I was doing that where, you know, I would put, you know, at least try when possible to put something meaningful in the comments. Then it greatly increases your chance of attracting more people. But you could look at, you know, what type of person would be your, you know, your target market is, you know, so if I'm, you know, in travel, right, which was, you know, the last company I was a part of was a travel company. If I'm doing travel, then I'm going to think about who are people that are adventurous. And, you know, I'm not necessarily going to find the world's biggest travel agent, because then you're kind of competing and it's, you know, kind of weird. But who travels, who's like an adventurist that travels a lot, you know, which I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. I don't watch a lot of, you know, that kind of stuff, but I would think about, you know, who travels a lot, who's constantly in the Maldives or Bora Bora or Fiji or, you know, Bahamas or whatever. And I might start dropping more meaningful comments there. Right. So just think about this. So if you have a travel blogger, right, or a travel podcaster, if that exists, and, you know, they're in the Bahamas and you say, you know, hey, make sure you stop by, you know, in Atlantis, there's this steak restaurant that's absolutely amazing. They have the very best Wagyu, right? That's a meaningful comment that all these people following that travel blog are like, oh, she knows a little bit about this. Well, I might be going there. Like, what do you know? And you say, oh, I'm happy to help you out. And oh, by the way, I can actually help you get there too. You see what I mean? So that would be meaningful uses of engagement, you know, to throw out there. And so marketing, so this is marketing, right? Because that's not prospecting. There's two main pillars to build your business, and that's marketing, that's prospecting, right? Prospecting is reaching out to an individual one-on-one. phone call, face-to-face, text message, direct message, right? Marketing is doing something you hope an unnamed individual reacts to. And so that could be a comment strategy of you just dropping these comments in high profile areas that are speaking to your target market, and they're meaningful, and you have a very good chance of people connecting and reaching out to you. You could do the same thing, by the way, if you were in travel groups, right? And in real travel groups, right? Not, groups that are just there to sell travel, but people that actually talk about travel and it's meaningful to them. You could drop these kind of valuable, meaningful tips. And I would never drop my link. I would never say, ask me for more. I wouldn't do any of that kind of stuff. I would just, speak in a way of what's helpful. For example, I remember when I took my older sons to Kauai, we went to all these fancy schmancy restaurants, and just like, they were great. I mean, I love Kauai. It's incredible. But their favorite restaurant was Puka Dogs. Puka Dogs. Does anyone know what Puka Dogs are? No? Let me tell you. Fantastic. They take Hawaiian sweetbread, okay, which is already delicious, right? And they jam it on a skewer. And this skewer toasts the inside. Crispy on the inside, soft on the outside, and they drop a sausage in there, and they have this coconut relish. They have all kinds of different relish. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, they're like, whatever, $5, right? It was like the cheapest restaurant we went to, but it was my favorite of my sons. So imagine giving that kind of insider tip to people that possibly are going to Kauai. Like, they're going to be like, what else does this person know? They're going to want to connect with you. And so if I was, doing reels, I would look for interesting, if I'm wanting to attract, now you don't have to talk about travel to sell travel, but if you're wanting to talk about travel to sell travel, then I would just, go online and look for, interesting travel, scenarios, right? What are interesting travel scenarios? So, maybe I talk about, trips to Jerusalem. Maybe I talk about, trips to, whatever, I can go the history angle of what are some really wild historical places, and just talk about them. And nowadays with reels, you can just have anything in your background. So you could have we went to Ireland. So we went to, we kissed the Blarney Stone, we did all these different, castle, tours and everything. Toured the Guinness Storehouse and Kilkenny and Ankle Island and Cliffs of Moher. And so you could have in the background, whether you've been there or not, you could find 5 tips or 5 historical facts about the Ankle Island, have it in the background, talk about it. Very, very simple. And, the neat thing about, travel is, I mean, most people, if you ask them, hey, if you had, all the money in the world, what would you do? They say travel. I mean, that's the answer 9 times out of 10. And so, that's the kind of stuff that I'd be doing if I was doing what you guys are doing.
Super cool.
Thank
All right.
you.
Looks like, yeah, David, go ahead.
Hey, so not to get too personal, but can you tell us about your 2 Comma Club X Award on your wall back there? I kind of like to know your mindset and how you went through that process to achieve that.
Yeah. So the 2 Comma Club X is when you have a funnel that made over 10 million. And then the 3 on the side are $1 million funnels. And so, we just, we're pretty consistent at what we do. We've been doing this for a little bit, and, they give you an award when the funnel makes money. What's interesting is, I chased money for most of my career, and not that I'm certainly not, anti, money now. But I chased money and awards and everything. And I have these things. I used to not have these on my wall. I used to I didn't even hang them up. But I know, I have to think about people that don't know me, and this will attract them, right? They'll say, ooh, what's that? Right. So they'll be interested in that. The truth is, I mean, I generate over $30 million in commissions and online, sales, and none of that really meant anything to me. I was trying to make me feel better about myself, and none of that ever did it for me. Hitting all those different business goals never fixed the thing that I was trying to fix. There were some other things that helped, right? Meditation helped. 6 months ago, I came to Christ, and that solved a lot of the things, or I think it solved all the things that I was actually looking to fix with money. So yeah, definitely, go for, awards. It's just, I think, it depends the reason for why you want money. I was wanting money for significance, status, security, identity, and trying to fix something. Money doesn't do any of those things. But money can be an amazing tool. We've, been, grateful to donate a lot of money here and there and raise money, et cetera. Those that say money can't buy happiness just haven't given enough away. But I find all of those things that I was striving for money, to fix. I find all of those things in God now, right? So I find my identity, my security, my acceptance, my status, my safety. I find all of that in God now. And so it's just a very different game. Doesn't mean that I'm anti-money or anything like that. This month will be one of the most profitable months. I mean, it's probably maybe the second most profitable month I've ever had, it's up there. It's either first or second most profitable month I've ever had, in all of my career. But it's just a little bit different game when you're leaning more on God than, the worldly, kind of rewards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, most definitely. And so as you pursue more of your purpose-driven life, what direction is that taking you with the service that you're going to provide moving forward?
Yeah, so a few things, like I have been, God has nudged me back into real estate. I just have some incredible kingdom-minded, very godly, partners that have brought me into, some different scenarios. We got a 70-unit deal up in, Tampa it's a 72 single-family homes, a package deal that we're wrapping up right now, and they're bringing me in as a partner. We have, so that, I'm being surrounded with multifamily investors. And one of my big things is to create a faith kit and get these people that control a lot of units to supply their tenants with faith kits. And it's not just a Bible. Here's a Bible, right? Because most people off the street can't just start reading a Bible. It's a little much. But a faith kit would include a book that I'm starting to work on right now of stories of people's lives that were changed because of coming to God. So it'd be like kind of a stepping stone, to faith. And so that's one, part of it. And also, I met a guy, it's just amazing the resources that are just showing up. But I met a guy yesterday who, in the last 4 years, he's generated over $350 million. And two interesting things about that. One, he paid $2,200 total in taxes for those 4 years. And he gave 16% to charity. And so I would rather put my money with charity than the government, personally. That's just my personal opinion. I think it'll get used better. And so like I'm learning under him, probably be launching some kind of fund where we raise money and go do good things, with it, and also pick up, whatever storage units, multifamily units, that sort of thing. But it's, really increasing, what are the different ways? And this is, it's biblical, right? It says use and I believe it's Galatians, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourself, right? And so the more, when people pay attention to your wealth before they do your wisdom. And Proverbs, tells us that the poor man's wisdom is despised, right? And so if we gain wealth and gain influence, we're able to sit at different tables to help people see the goodness of God, and that there's no virtue in poverty, and in fact, it's my opinion is that it's actually selfish to only wish for enough for you and your family, because then you can't give to anybody else. And so, we're excited because, this, we've completely changed a lot of things in our business, like our annual event, which we hope to see, many of you guys at. And I know, the company has 100 tickets. I don't know how they're doling them out or selling them, or I don't know what they're doing there, but we're happy to help whatever they're doing. But we have our Faith Over Fear business summit in September in Orlando, and that's going to be very much how to build a godly business, how to feel good about your faith and your finances, how to grow to a point where you have enough provisions for your vision, and how you can make a bigger impact. And that's a fact. With more money, you can do more good, and you're doing more good not to earn salvation, because it's not works that saves you, but you're doing more good because that can bring more people to want to know what's the source of your hope, and and want to know more about you, and like, hey, how do you operate, and why are you so happy? How come you're always joyful no matter what happens? And that's because, we lean not on our own understanding, but, we, trust in God. And that's a very different thing. Most of my life I did self-development, and I was just toiling away and taming myself and, disciplining myself. And I can tell you that is very hard. When you lean more on not yourself being the savior, but leaning more on God, everything becomes easier. That's what I've seen.
Powerful.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your heart and sharing where you're headed. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome.
I want to say that event last year, it was called Rank Makers Live. But the first day that I went, first of all, I can't believe how inexpensive it is after spending tens of thousands, well, hundreds of thousands of dollars on trainings. That was probably the least expensive training I had ever paid for. And in one day, I got more value than you charged me. Awesome. It was by far, and I've been to more trainings than most people, but over 15 years or whatever. And I am telling you, the best. Like, I became, and I know I'm not supposed to worship people, but when I find an expert in an area, I want to know everything they know and apply it, because I know that's what brings us success, right? And so if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. And I got a lot of answers and so I'm telling you, I have 100 tickets too, because I want everybody I know to go. And it doesn't matter if they do network marketing, or they sell insurance, or if they sell real estate, or they sell brushing their teeth to their kids. I think they need to be there, because it's going to have an effect on how they perceive and think what they have the opportunity to do with their lives. So really, I would dial it in, because September's going to come up on us fast. So
yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for saying that. That's awesome. Appreciate you.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we're at the top of the hour, and we don't want to be abusive of Ray's time. It's late, but no, a full hour with Ray. This was awesome. Appreciate it, Ray. Thank you so much.
For sure. My pleasure.
And thank everybody for being on tonight. And we'll do this again a month from now. All right.
There you go. All right.
Great. Have a good
Guys.
night, everybody. Talk to you
Thank
later.
Thank you, Rick, and everybody.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.